This is the Action Movie Guys podcast, bringing you action movie reviews from across the decades, plus box office numbers and insight like never before. And now, your hosts of the Action Movie Guys podcast, Alex and Nate.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode number 176 of the Action Movie Guys podcast. I'm your host, Nate, and this is my co-host,
Alex Figueroa.
And this week, me and Alex, we're sitting in our canoe. We're paddling. We're getting to the end, my friend. We're getting to the end of the river of time. We're in the 2010s. We have went from the 70s to the 80s to the 90s to the 2000s, and now we're in the 2010s. We got a little movie this week called Dredd. This is, of course, we'll call it a reboot. It's not a remake. It's a reboot of the Judge Dredd, franchise. Alex, how long has it been since you've watched this movie?
It's been a while. I'm not going to lie. This was one of my favorite movies. I remember. I used to rock the crap out of the Blu-ray. And then it came out on 4K. I watched it like 2 times on 4K. So whenever it came out, I watched it 2 times. And then that's it.
So I saw this movie in the theater in 3D back in 2012. I saw it in 3D. And then I did not even buy the Blu-ray, but I had it digitally, but I never watched it. And then I got the 4K Steelbook, so I didn't even buy the first 4K. And then I watched it for this review. This was only the second time I've seen it. I haven't watched it since the theater, so it's been 10 years since I've seen this movie. So I'm a different person than I was 10 years ago. So do I feel different about it? I don't know. We're about to find out. But before we do that, let's go ahead and give you some Rotten Tomatoes scores. And I know we don't do box office, but I'm going to say a little mention of the box office before we get into the review. Now, Rotten Tomatoes scores, pretty good, especially after we're watching these Roger Moore movies with these 38%. This has a 79% critic score. Yeah, good, better than the Stallone Judge Dredd, too. Yeah. And this has a 72% audience score.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so very well reviewed. Now, box office, this was a funny one. I looked it up. The movie had a budget because a lot of people are like, where's the sequel? Well, the movie had a budget of about they say it's between 30 and 45 million, which is not a huge budget. And you could tell watching it, this is not like a big budget, spectacle, but it only made like $8 million US. So this was not a box office success, but it made a lot of money on home video. It had like that second movie. So this is a bona fide cult. This is a cult movie at this point, Dredd. Did not do well in the box office, didn't make any money, but has really good reviews and made a lot of money at home, And those home movies, those are where you get the cult movies. So we're doing a bona fide cult film here, Alex, and I'm going to let you go first. So you, of course, get to start off with the lead character. He is Judge Dredd. He does not take off his helmet. He's played by one Karl Urban, and his jaw. Take it away.
That's my dude. Karl. Hey, I like him as an actor. I think he's very underrated, that dude. Yeah. He's Bones in Star Trek, right?
I love him in Star Trek.
Oh, he's great in his Bones. And then now he's my man, Dredd. And then he's in The Boys, which he's awesome too. Butcher. He's really good in that too. But anyway, him as Dredd. Oh, man. Let me just tell you. First of all, I'm not surprised because I remember that this movie was never pushed by the company as promotional. And that's the only reason why it flopped. And of course, people compare it to Ray Redemption, which we did a review on. Jay picked it for his Patreon month. Yeah. So, but let's get to it. Lead character. This dude do not fuck around as Dredd. And I love it, dude. I loved it. He is fantastic casting as my man, Joseph Dredd. And I said, oh, man.
Joseph Dredd.
I think his name is Joseph. I believe it was.
They never say it. It might be. I don't know.
Think it was because I remember when we saw the Stallone one, they gave his full name in the console. Joseph something Dredd. Anyway.
Joseph. All right.
Yeah. Whatever. If it is.
Let's call them Judge.
Yeah. Let's just call him Judge, right? Yeah. JD, baby. That's what I'm going to call him. JD. Yeah. JD. Dude, my man did not fuck around. And I say, yo, I loved it. Because every time they were calling me, like, they did the whole, like, we have a break-in, and he was just like, I got it. And he went, right? And he goes, perps, shot up a thing. He goes, I'm going in. And he went in, and he killed them all. And I said, I love this dude already. Like, the movie starts off with just straight action. And I was like, this is showing off. My man is not fucking around with the law. He's just like, I'm going to kill you. They took the slow-mo, which is a drug that once you take it, everything just slows down, which is pretty cool, but we'll talk about that during the storyline. But then it goes into, look, Dredd is just amazing, man. I mean, he has some iconic moments in this. And I will say it again when he gets on that PA. And he said, Mama, he's like, judgment time. And I was like, yes, I love you. I was like, this is my boy. I was like, he has the look. He has the frown, right?
Yeah.
Permanent. Again, Stallone does look like Judge Dredd. The only mistake that they had is that they removed his helmet. But it's a 90s movie. We talked about that. It was a straight 90s movie, and I loved it. I was like, you know what? This, for that time period, Judge Dredd was awesome. We're in a new age. People wanted more towards the comic book where he does not remove the helmet, and that's exactly what you got. But, man, if they would have just at least meshed this with RoboCop, that style of RoboCop with this type of movie, oh, my God, it would have been a recipe of success. But I gave him a 5 because he was amazing. He was good. Oh, and Anderson, his partner, the rookie, she was gorgeous. She was good. So, yeah, 5.
Okay, so I agree with pretty much everything you said. I thought Karl Urban was really good in the role. The action scenes, he's good. Got the frame, got the look, got the frown, got the voice, the grovelly voice. Just pretty much growls the whole time. They did. So here's my issue, and it's the only thing that keeps me from a 5. And I don't disagree with your 5, but and I get it. It's from the comic books, but the fact that you're right, I don't even know his first name. I just know him as Judge Dredd. And I don't know if he got a family, and I don't know if he got some kids, and I don't know if he goes outside and plays basketball. I don't know what he does. All I know is he does law. So he's such a minimal character. This is not a comic book I would ever read because I don't think the character is super interesting. So I'm attached to him only for his badassery and not for anything else other than that. So I totally get it. I guess for an action movie, yeah, it works. It does work. It does work. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I just like a little more meat on the bone when it comes to a character to root for. You know what? I changed my mind though. Because of the way the story is, I'm going to give him a 5 too. I think he works in this world. I still wish, I don't want him to take off his helmet. I'm okay with that. But at least if there was something to him. Now, the one thing I will say, where they were able to give him a little bit of show you beyond the law stuff, is how he dealt with the partner, with Anderson. Because when he first meets her, he's like, she's going to she failed. She can't do it or whatever. And he's like, just take her, see what happens. And then she does that speech where she's like, I lost my gun, blah, 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 blah. And then he passes her at the end, even though she messed up. That is a character trait that at least they were able to show, okay, he is by the book, but he understands that this girl really is good at the job and did a good job. You know what I mean? So that adds a little something to him, a little spice, Other than that, he just growls and shoots people all day. And, I guess it works for me. So yeah, you know what? I'll give him a 5 too. I'll give him the 5 there.
And also, just to add on to what you just said, is the fact that when she got hurt, he was taking care of her he started to put the wound.
He wasn't a prick.
No, he was taking care of her. And you could see, when the guy took her in the elevator, he was not playing around. He was just like, oh no, I got to go after rookie. I got to get the rookie back.
Yeah.
So I agree with you in that sense. In terms of the comic book, because I read the comic, one of the issues, they do not give him backstory. It's just straight. Each comic book, it's a straight him doing judge stuff.
Plops you in.
Yeah, it just plops you. He's just a cop, and everyone fears him. Once you say Judge Dredd, everyone's like, oh, this dude, no. So it's not they give you history.
It's probably super accurate to the comics, but that's just not my cup of tea as far as
no, it's okay.
What I love in a character. But he works in this film, I guess, as good as you could, and probably better than Stallone in that regard.
Yeah.
So sure, I'll give him the 5. It's fine. Okay, main villain. This is Mama, played by Cersei. I just call her Cersei Lannister.
Lena
Headey is her real name, but she's Cersei Lannister. I don't care what anyone says.
She was great. But the thing is with Mama, she wasn't in much scenes. When Mama was on screen, she commanded. And I'm not going to lie. She was really good as Mama. Did she do killings? No. She just pretty much stood on top of the building and let everyone else henchman. I will say when they were shooting that 50 caliber through the
she shoots that.
Yeah, she shoots that, and she's just concentrating fire and killing everyone on that floor. I'll give her points for that. I gave her points for that because I was like, that was creative, to be honest with you. And when she was about to tear the guy from Star Wars, Hux, with the I don't even know his name is, the computer dude.
Domhnall Gleeson is the actor.
Yeah, that guy. Like, she was gonna kill this dude. Like, you better tell this dude to lock this building down, because if these guys leave, your ass is gonna be toast. And I kind of like the scene. You can see how menacing, and I like the backstory on her. Like, one thing this movie did very well with the characters, they gave you a little bit of the backstory. So when the medicine guy, the doctor, he was like, "You never heard of the Mama Clan?" And then all of a sudden, it gave you the history of how she became powerful in this building. I said, that actually works very well. It gave you 5 minutes or less, gave you the actual origins of how she became so powerful and rich. So I thought that was really good. So with that, I gave her a 4. I thought she was great. I don't think she was a perfect villain, but she gets toast at the end, and I like that. I like it. He was just like, sentence death. Yes.
So to me, this is the weakest part of the movie. I think she's okay. I agree with you. At least there's a little bit of back. So yeah, you're right. Everyone else gets backstory except Judge Dredd. He gets nothing. They literally show him getting ready for work, and that's it. That's all you know about him. At least she gets a little backstory. But you're right. She don't do crap. And I don't. You know what I hate? I hate movies where the main villain doesn't do anything, and then it makes it hard for me to understand why people work for her. Like, why doesn't the next one in charge just kill her and then be in charge? You know what I mean? Like, she's small, first of all. She's not like a big, scary lady. She got scars, so she looks cool. But I can't understand why, I guess, like, why they keep working for her. She's not intimidating. And Lena Headey, honestly, I think she's a good actress. Like, I love her in Game of Thrones. So she can play evil, where you're like, oh, I hate her. I didn't get that in this. Like, I didn't hate her. She's bad, sure. And her line delivery was kind of flat. She delivers every line, like, very monotone. Like, kill him, make sure he kills him. Yeah. Don't come up here if you... And I'm like, you're right. She kept threatening the poor freaking long-haired guy. She's picking on the nerd the whole time. Like, the only person she, like, threatens physically and stuff is the nerd. Everyone else she doesn't. And all the henchmen do everything. So I gave her a 3. I think it's a good foil for a first movie. You know what I mean? Like, okay, let's start with this person who's a drug lord in an apartment building that's like a little city. But I didn't love her. I didn't hate her. I gave her 3. So weakest part. Everything else, believe me, everything else will get a higher score than this throughout the rest. So, all right. I don't think we're going to be similar, though, on a lot of scores. But action.
Oh, action. Come on. This movie got action. Now, doesn't have plenty of action. I'm gonna be straight up honest. It doesn't have plenty. But what it does very well is when Dredd starts to shoot, my man is pinpoint accuracy. And I love how he conserves his bullets. And I thought that was pretty cool. Like, he was just shooting dudes on the toe and in the face. Like, just straight up 2 shots or 3 shots, depending. Action. Very creative. I would say, again, a lot of people compare it to Ray Redemption. I kind of understand why. But in this case, I do like it. I thought it worked very well. I love the gas scene. And I love the scene when he's about to go to the corridor. And he was like telling the dudes, he rolls the little stun thing. And he puts on the PA, and he talks to them, and I was like,
and they keep coming, cool. And he just comes around the corner and murks them.
Yeah, he stuns all of them, and they all start shooting them all up, and I was like, that is really cool sequence. Now, you don't get much sequences like that, like full-blown action. I thought the really cool part after he gave his speech on the PA, which I thought was awesome, when he threw the incendiary, he's like, incendiary, and then he shot it, and they all started to flame up, and I was like, oh, man, this dude means business. And I like that. I said, oh, that's cool. Mama shooting the gun. I thought that scene was cool, but what I think my favorite scene in the movie, and it gets me mad hype, and I was like, yo, I freaking loved it. And I gave it a 5 automatically, was after that whole thing happened, he was like, we have to go back in there. After he gave that code 1224, and they all have to respond. When they went back in there, and all you hear is like gunshot, and then all of a sudden you see him throw the dude, and you just see the silhouette of him going back in, and she was just like, ah, shit. Like, this dude is not backing down. I was like, this is a 5. Because it's like, if you can't stop him with a 250 calibers, like Gatling guns, like, how can you stop a guy like this? Like, you can't. Again, and then at the end of the movie, it's just, I thought it was just stunning. Like, and it was cool because you saw their training between Anderson and him. Like, you see them tapping each other, turning corners, picking people off. And then, of course, with the mama, she like puts the bomb in her, and he was like, if you kill me, we're going to blow it off, and you're going to take that chance. And he took the chance. He shot in the stomach, hit her with the slow-mo, and then he was like, what you plead? And he was like, duly noted. And he just threw her out the window, and I was like, yeah, Dredd! And I loved it. Honestly, I gave it a 5. It's just a 5. It's just so. It was very rated R though, very gory.
Yeah,
I loved it.
Yeah, so I give it a 4. I give the action a 4. It's just not.
Let me explain.
So first of all, I agree. I love one thing I do love is the R-ratedness. Mm-hmm. There's 2 things we've talked about doing 176 episodes of the show. I love R-rated violence. Okay, and I also don't love when all the action is guns. And that's like where I'm that's what this movie is like. It's very violent, but it's almost all guns action. Yeah. So it's not super diverse. You have the one little chase scene at the beginning on the motorcycle, but it's short, the motorcycle in the van. Other than that, it's a lot of guns shooting. So it's not my favorite form of action. It's like one great shootout scene can be good, but this is like 5 shootout scenes pretty much. So it's well shot. You know, I do like the gadget, like the gun with the different ammo, which that was in the original movie too. You know, he's like says the certain word and it shoots. I like the incendiary one. That one's sick when they all catch on fire. I like the one where he shoots it in the guy's mouth and his head melts.
Oh, hot shot. He goes hot shot.
Hot shot. Yeah, hot shot was cool.
Yeah,
or the exploding one that makes the guy's head burst. Like I liked all that stuff.
That was high tech.
Yeah, those are cool. But it's just guns shooting. So, like, it's not diverse. There's no real, like, cool hand-to-hand fights. I can't give it a 5 for me, but it is a 4. There's enough action. But you're right. It's not, from what I remember, it is way less action than I remember it being.
Yeah.
Like, from 10 years ago, I could have sworn this movie was, like, nonstop action, and it's not. There's plenty of talking and story and things like that. But then the action comes out, and it's bloody. Here's my other issue. Too much CGI blood, and it looks okay in the slow-mo scenes. I think those are great. I love the first one where he like busts in the door and the door like expands and that dude's stomach like goes in and then the guy's cheek explodes and like I loved it. I was like, this is cool. But when he's shooting them fast, like in the stairs, the CGI blood looks horrible. And this 4K, by the way, the 4Ks, it looks like very average, but it makes those scenes stick out more because this is a lower budget. This is, like I said, it's like between 25 and 35 million bucks. The CGI blood doesn't work for me. I would have rather they did squibs, you know, and just like have, you know, squibs popping, but I don't know. So that marked off a little bit for me, but not that much. I still gave it a 4. You gave it a 5. Okay, storyline.
This is where I gave it a 3. To be honest, it wasn't the storyline. It's just a generic cop movie. You know, he's getting the guy for drugs. That's pretty much the whole movie, right? Like, and then, but the crazy thing is like you think he's there for slow-mo, but he's not. He went there because they killed 3 dudes off a balcony, and he responding to it. That's the whole premise of the movie. Like, but then wrong place, right time. Yeah, no, wrong place at the wrong time because when he landed there, because of Anderson's mutant powers, she sensed that slow-mo is being sold in the 25th floor, I believe it was.
39,
and he was like,
wasn't it?
Yeah, 29. Yeah, and then he was like, we should go, you know, you call it, rookie. And then he was like, we'll take it. And I was like, so pretty much the movie was pretty much there. It's the wrong place at the wrong time. I liked it. I thought it was good. I don't think it was a great, I don't think it was a perfect. I thought it was a good movie. I thought it was very good. But yeah, I give it a 3. I mean, there's not more for me to elaborate because honestly, this is not like it's just a fun movie, to be honest with you. So I give it a 3.
Yeah, so the comparisons to the Raid Redemption, to me, this is where they come, is in the story. Because everything else is totally different. One is in the future, one is in modern times, one is more like a martial arts film. This is like a shooting. But the storyline of an apartment building where cops have to go up the floors to get the drug kingpin, it's very similar. Yeah. I think it's coincidental because I know like the people working on it, it's not the same type of, and that the Raid is like a small Indonesian movie. You know, it's not like it was some big Hollywood movie. So I don't think it was a ripoff. I just think it was coincidence. Not to mention the fact that I read after Alex Garland started writing this like in 2011 or something, or 2010 or 2009. So either way, I agree. I think it's straightforward. But what I like about it is, one, I like the Anderson. I like her. Olivia Thirlby is the actress. You're right. She's really good in this. She's like a good mix of naive and sincere, but then she gets tough as the day goes on. But it's organic. It doesn't seem like a switch. Like, okay, she was a horrible damsel in distress, and now all of a sudden she's a badass. No, it was more like she was she was ready to do it and then embraced those things as it went along. You know what I mean? So I like that storyline. I like him with her. I like them working together. I like that he wasn't like a total, it's hard to root for someone who's like a total prick to somebody for no reason. So I like their dynamic together. It is straightforward. It is simple. You're right. There's not much to it. I gave it a 4. I actually think one of the things that's strong about the movie is the script is actually really good. Probably better than it has any right to be for a movie like this. You know what I mean? It should be even more basic than this. And it turns out like the original Judge Dredd does too much. This one does just the right amount. Just the right amount. Don't do too much. Let's not get too crazy. Let's not have the brother be the secret villain and the halls and the lawyers and they don't go outside of they stay in a building the whole time. So I dug it. So I'm a little bit higher than you on the storyline. 3 and 4. Okay. So overall, this movie's amazing. I thought it's an amazing movie. It's well paced. I was not bored at times. The slow motion was a little bit too much in the movie. Too many times.
Yeah, it was way too much. But other than that, I pushed it to the side. I thought it was good. You got some bad judges. In this movie, he had to fight them and he hit them in the throat. And I was like, yeah, he saw the throat go in. I love
that part. It's gross.
Yeah, the throat was awesome. It's very well paced. The action is really good in this movie. Not as much, but it was good. But Karl Urban is the one that stole the show for me. I love this version of Judge Dredd. I wish we got a sequel. I wish they turned this into a TV show because it would work way better with him as a TV judge and then bring back Olivia as Anderson. They had great chemistry with each other. So for me, it works very well. So with that said, I gave it a 4. For great. This movie, I will always watch this movie whenever I'm bored or whatever because I loved it. Now, don't get me wrong. I like Judge Dredd too. So don't get me with that. I like me the Dredges. Both Dredds, I love it. Stallone's version, Karl Urban. Can't go wrong with either one. With that said, I gave it a 4.
I'm same. I gave it a 4. It's good. It's not as good as I remember. I think I liked it better when I saw it 10 years ago. Like when I was watching it, I was like, I like this. But again, I also thought it was nonstop action and it's not. So I like it for slightly different reasons watching it now. And this is why people always ask me, why don't you watch movies? Like I watch movies all the time, but I don't like to watch them close together because over time, like my taste changes, my life is different. And I like to revisit a movie, so I'm glad I waited the whole 10 years to watch this movie because I enjoyed it for totally different stuff this time around. But the point is, I still enjoyed it. So I also gave it a 4. Karl Urban was awesome. I agree. I think this would be cool as like a HBO or like an Amazon Prime show, where it could be R-rated. Not Netflix because they'll ruin it. Like Amazon Prime or HBO, bring Karl Urban back. Honestly, give me even a limited series, like a 6 or 8 episode little one season. Doesn't have to be 8 seasons long. One season where he goes on like a couple of different little justice dealing missions. I'm in. I think it would be cool. I don't watch a lot of TV, but I'd watch that. The slow-mo, I agree with you. They should have done it in the one scene. That's awesome. Like that would have been cool. Like this drug is slow-mo. Then they have this one scene where they show the effects and then he blowing everybody away. That would have been awesome. But they showed it like 7 times. So by the 7th time, it's like, okay, we get it. It makes everything like sparkly. And which, by the way, those scenes looked awesome in the theater in 3D. They looked super cool. I remember. So anyway, it's a fun movie. It's good. It's worth your time. If you like sci-fi, if you like action, this is a good hybrid. It's more action than sci-fi, but it's futuristic and it's more grittier than the original Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
This is like a more gritty take. That one's more comic booky, if that makes sense. So
no, it does. Perfect.
And the one thing is, I remember we reviewed the original one. That one is a little more satirical, which I believe is more from the comic. Like it's kind of making fun of a lot of stuff. And this one's like dead serious. It's not very satirical at all. So it's 2 different things. Alex, it's like he said, you can love both because they're literally, it's the same character and they're 2 totally different types of movies. So it kind of works. It's kind of cool. All right. So what's your total points?
Mine is a 22 out of a 25.
Very nice. I'm at a 20 out of a 25. So this was a good hit for us. We both enjoyed Dredd. Give it a watch. If you haven't seen it, clearly there's still a lot of people who I'm sure haven't seen it yet because it made $8 million. But if you have seen it, give it a rewatch. Maybe you'll like it still. Okay, as far as what we got coming up. So moving on, we're done with Roger Moore, and we are going to be doing the Spider-Man movies from Toby to Andrew to Tom. We're going through all 8 of the live-action Spider-Man. No Spider-Verse, just the live-action Spider-Man movies. And then, Alex, we are wrapping up our 2010s. This is the last one, as voted on by the fans. We're going to be doing a little bit Baby Driver. Have you seen Baby Driver before?
Once. I don't even remember. I know it has to do with a guy that listens to music and drive cars, but that's all I remember.
Perfect. Well, this will be like a first time watch almost. So we're going to be doing some Baby Driver, starring, of course, Jamie Foxx, Ansel Elgort, Kevin Spacey. I know he's canceled now. He's in this. So I haven't seen this. This is another one. I think I saw it at the theater and I have not seen it since. So it's been a good 4 years, however long it's been. So yes, those are going to be our next 2 episodes coming up.
All right, guys, if you want to follow us on our social media accounts, please follow Nate over on Instagram at Netflix Reviews. Check out the podcast with him and his friends called Netflix Movie Reviews. Anything action movie, guys, head over to youtube.com/geeksandflicks. Anything, or you can go to our website at www.geeksandflicks.com for our official merchandise. You have our Action Movie Guys t-shirts and Geeks and Flicks merchandise there too. And of course, we have the podcast audio and video versions of the podcast there together. Other than that, that is your host,
Nate from Netflix Reviews.
I'm his co-host, Alex Figueroa. Be awesome to each other and geek out.